How to stand out or not. Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Cornell with Get Taped here in Atlanta, Georgia, one of Atlanta's original audition taping services, which I co-own with my amazingly talented, beautiful wife and best friend, Brooke. And now, on to our topic. How to stand out or not. As an actor, there are some roles that are intended to just fade into the background, to become part of the fabric of the world that you're creating. Your under fives, co-star, day player, etc., whatever you want to call them. And then there are roles that are meant to stand out. The guest stars, the series regulars, the leads, etc. Don't do that though. But no matter what you're auditioning for, essentially we're all just trying to stand out, right? To get picked, to book the role. And here on this channel, we've had many discussions on the different nuances of this topic, but today I want to talk about specifically why your audition might be getting overlooked, regardless of the size of the role. And to explain, I want to delve into some cognitive psychology 101. Trust me, this is pretty cool stuff, if you're a nerd like me. Let's start with an overall understanding of how our brain processes stimuli. We have 5 senses, and each of those senses is being inundated with an enormous amount of information at any given moment. So how does it prioritize? Well, let me grossly oversimplify by saying that our brain is most interested in the change in stimuli. And to illustrate, let's talk about something called Troxler's fading. I won't bore you with all the Wikipedia background, but do this test. Stare at the black cross at the center of this image. Don't move your eyes, just keep staring. After a few seconds, what do you notice? All the colors are fading. They're gone. It's just gray. But why? Well, since the surrounding part of that image lives in the periphery of your vision and it's not changing, your brain stops paying attention to it, to the point where it just discards the color information altogether. And if this fascinates you like it does me, then I encourage you to go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole. But Matt, how does this pertain to acting? So glad you asked. Think of that image as your self-tape. At first glance, you might think that you made some really good, interesting choices. But let's say that you've fallen into the trap of trying to imitate some perceived imaginary performance of what you think casting wants. If they're seeing, let's say, 30 actors for this role, then it's a safe bet that at least 50% of them fell into the same trap, delivering the lines the exact same way. So what initially felt to you like the right answer for the audition turns into a Troxler's fading experiment. All the actors who, instead of just being themselves, tried to imitate some stereotype of what they think casting wanted, will just fade into the background and are in danger of not being remembered at all. And what takes some actors years and years to learn is that being yourself, that boring person you spend 24 hours a day with, is infinitely more interesting than some approximation of a character you think they want. And if you need help figuring out how to be yourself, I invite you to check out our sister channel, Sam Christensen Studios Atlanta. Now, let's say you're being authentic, 100%. Is there anything else we can learn from this idea in psychology? Yes, I think so. Let's take, for instance, a 2 to 3 page scene. Now, that's 2 to 3 minutes of human behavior that you get to showcase. So now the danger is if you make the same choices across those 2 to 3 minutes, then those choices will tend to fade into the background. If your rhythm remains constant, if your vocal qualities remain constant, if your physicality remains constant, then all these aspects of your performance can just disappear. For a 2-liner or another short audition, you don't have a lot of time to get stuck in some sort of predictable rhythm. So we're mainly talking about longer auditions, like I mentioned, 2 to 3 pages or longer. To avoid this trap of your choices fading into the background, let's go back again to how the brain works. Ever been sitting in a room and then the AC turns on and you realize, wow, that's really loud. But then after a while, your brain gets used to it. The noise fades into the background until the AC turns off. And then suddenly you become aware of how quiet it is. Our brains light up when there's a change in a stimulus like that. So as you're doing your script analysis and character breakdown, be sure to shake things up every once in a while. And when you're taping the audition, if you get a good take, don't just do another take for the sake of it. Get curious about something. Change the rhythm, change the pacing, change the physicality, even if it's something not in the stage directions. Oh my, what an idea. something so that you don't get stuck in this locked in performance that you've been doing since you rehearsed it in your bedroom. Because even though casting is only going to see the end result, let's say it's just that one take you end up submitting, I can tell you from years and years of taping auditions, thousands upon thousands of them, that even just seeing that final result, a casting director can still tell when you are locked rigidly into your choices. And when they sniff that out, you're once again in danger of just fading into the background. My mom would be so happy to know that I'm still using my college education, even though psych was an elective in my engineering curriculum. Anyway, there's so much more to unpack in how the brain works and how that could actually help us in our acting. If you're curious about it, leave a comment below or share a little truth nugget that you've learned from your studies in years past about how the brain works and how it relates to our profession as actors. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on set. I bet you noticed that change.